First and foremost, we'd like to thank the Cozy Croissant for giving us the chance to pen test their systems over the last couple of days. When we first heard that the Cozy Croissant is interested in cybersecurity, we were very thrilled. And when we heard about their interest in us coming back again and pen testing their systems again, we could not wait. So for that, thank you. Our team consists of 6 engineers. Our team today is Art, Gaby, Yao, Willis, Ben, and myself, Kevin. Over the last couple of days, we were given a scope of work and we were asked to pen test the systems. For those who are not familiar, pen testing the system is when we're given the scope of work, we go in and we try to find vulnerabilities or potential risks. We're not going to bore you with all the details because we found a bunch of vulnerabilities. We submitted a report last night, including all the critical vulnerabilities, but for the sake of time today, we are going to go over the first 3 vulnerabilities, the first critical vulnerabilities. In terms of how critical they are, they have been scored, and so we've selected the 3 highest scored vulnerabilities. The scoring system will be found in details in the report. For now, I'll pass it on to Hart, who is going to go through the first one.
Thank you, Kevin. And again, thanks for having us again. My name is Hart, and I want to introduce you to the first safety concern that we have, which is Jellyfin default admin access. I want to break down a little bit. Jellyfin is the platform that we use to upload our media, photo, anything to promote our company, to show the world who we are, and that is brilliant ideas. The problem is the default admin access. Any user who log into the website, they are default as admin. What they can do, they can do a lot of things, a lot of privileges, they can add information, they can modify information, they can extract information. You don't want anybody to do that, but besides our own staff, right? Someone could just click a button and turn off our server, and we spend money on that. And even worse, we could damage our future reputation if they put lies, if you put fake news, right? We could lose a lot of potential customers, so that's not good. So we came up with a few recommendations. It's very cost-friendly. First is restrict user access to the basic, privileges, right? So you want a user to do what you only want them to do. So they cannot mess around, so logically you'll be fine. Second, to create a safer admin account with a strong password. If you have designated staff to log in as an admin, so we know who's under the control, and we use a strong password to prevent brute force. And now hand the mic to Yao for the second concern.
All right. Thank you, Hart. Now we'll go to the next important security issues, which is the reward system broken access control. So let me walk you through how we found the vulnerability. So we first found the source code of the reward system on the website, which is perfectly accessible, and you can just see it. And through the source code, we discovered that when making a new user, they are getting admin rights by default, and this could have a huge impact on the integrity of the reward system, which means any user can just view customer-sensitive information, which can lead to data leaks. And this might sound bad, but we have a plan for you guys to fix this. So first, we're just gonna fix the part of code for account creations, make sure that they're not giving admin rights by default. And now I will pass it to Willis to talk about the next issue.
Thanks, Yao. For our third vulnerability we found that we thought required attention, it concerned SMB users having no passwords on them. What this entailed was some accounts just didn't have a password. You would fill in the username on the password field, you leave it blank, hit login, and you'd be granted access. This is pretty important, as for us as a pen testing firm, we're able to go in, put up our tools, and use it to find information. For a black hat hacker or someone with malicious intent, they can easily come in, put their viruses up, and continue to steal information as they wish. And this also happened with the kiosk as well. And as we know, the main point of the kiosk is to display some type of information. If someone with malicious intent were to get their hands on the back end of the kiosk, they can upload whatever they want. And how I like to paint this picture is, imagine New York City's Times Square, all their billboards are just hacked and unsolicited content is posted up. If that would be a household news, everyone would be talking Luckily though, there are some pretty easy remediations. You can apply some password policies. Or for the accounts without a password, just add a password. And disable some unused accounts. A lot of times some of these accounts didn't seem to be in use. Just have disabled. And you really want to do a little more extra work, add something activity logout time. That's it. I'm going to pass over my homework to Ben.
Awesome, thank you so much, Willis. So today I'm going to be talking about PCI DSS compliance, payment card industry, and why that's very important for the Cozy Croissant. So as you all may imagine, a lot of credit card transactions happen. There's a lot of customer information that's in there as well. So you got to be compliant with that. And so what can we do? These are all recommendations for improvement based off the PCI DSS compliance. So first of all, you want to make sure that your user accounts, whether they're administrators or just regular user accounts in the system, they have strong password rules that they're following. Makes it less easy, even less hard, easier to hack them, And second of all, you want to make sure that these users, they have rights based on their appropriate roles. So for example, you do not want a regular user just having administrator unlimited powers, because what can he do with them, right? And also, you want to make sure that non-programmers, they don't have any programming views or any way to look at code. And third of all, there's customer information, right? It's involved, like credit card information or addresses or anything that's personal to them. You want to make sure that it's encrypted so that only the person who owns that can see that product, right? And last but not least, you want to make sure that any in-house programs that are developed are just securely developed. And so one example is that you want to make sure that any user accounts that are made do not automatically have administrative rights unless they have to. So now, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Katie, who's going to be explaining what's next.
Thank you, Ben. So, since our last assessment, we've noticed some significant improvements that have been made by the Cozy Croissant security team. So, we noticed that there was some good network separation. There was a strong firewall implemented, and we would like to commend that. In addition to this, there was good input validation and to ensure that hackers won't be able to insert code and be able to view or even modify confidential information. And then we also wanted to, once again, recognize that there have been steps taken in our remediation plan, and we noticed that the services have been updated as requested. And so there's also some room for improvement. As mentioned before, there were some misconfigured user roles, and we want to make sure that users have the privileges assigned to them. They do not have the admin privileges. And we also wanted to emphasize the importance of a good password policy and some cyber awareness for employees to ensure that they are not susceptible to social engineering by doing training such as phishing scenarios and keeping them up to date with news and security. Any questions?
Yes, thank you. A question, do you think that if we were to move to the cloud, we could address most of these problems?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
If we were to move to the cloud, do you believe we could address most of these issues?
We've looked at some automated pen testing tools. We've looked at multiple tools that work with the cloud. At the end of the day, no network or no company can be 100% secure. You could definitely solve a lot more issues, especially with automated tools that some of the cloud infrastructures offer. But no company can be 100% secure. There will always be some vulnerabilities at the end of the day.
One question in terms of priorities, because you presented a few topics to be addressed, but what's number one to be done quickly to improve the situation?
For which one?
What's the number one thing that we will do to improve the situation?
Number one thing, we believe cyber training. We have had 2 incidents with Cozy Croissant staff where we attempted social engineering. That was honestly the least amount of work that we were able to put in, and a lot of information we were actually able to gain out of that. We believe that humans are just very vulnerable in comparison to computers, and we feel like ongoing cyber training to technical and non-technical staff should be done on a regular basis. Any other questions?